So here's the first knot that we're going to be learning. This is probably one of the most important knots you can learn for using on a boat. This is the bowline right here. So this is a knot that you're going to want to learn to tie inside, outside, backwards, forwards, behind your back, standing in a shower at night. So this is the bowline here. So we'll untie it and I'll show you. Here's a simple kind of Boy Scout way of learning it. So you got your line, you got your standing end here, and then you got your bitter end right here. So one of the things you got to do is you first put a loop just like that, and that makes a hole. Okay, and you think of this as the tree, this is the hole, and then your bitter end is your rabbit. Okay, one thing to take note of is look at how this, the bitter end one, is laying over top of this standing end here. That's important. So what you do is you take your bitter end, which is your rabbit. I'll give us a little bit more length. You take your rabbit, comes up through the hole, comes around the tree, and then back in the hole. That's your bowline right there. Okay. You want to make sure that when you tie it, you leave enough tail on the end right here. So if you have too short of a tail, like so, you got a nice bowline, but then it could easily just pop out like that. Okay. So that's the bowline. So just remember, you make the hole, bring the bitter end up, go around the tree, back in the hole. It's important that that end with the bitter end here is over top of this one, because if you look, that rabbit is trying to pull that tree into the hole. But the rabbit cannot because this side of the hole is in the way. So that's what causes the knot to hold. This is a good knot. It's a loop. It doesn't tighten, but it holds on really well, and it's easy to untie when you need it, but it holds under strain. So that's for a putting a loop in the end of the line that is, in particular, it doesn't really matter if it stays loose. Now, I'll show you a little trick for tying a bowline quicker, and I find it a little easier. You got your standing end here, this hand, your bitter end here, and you take your bitter end over top like this, and then you grab it there, whoop, and look at that. You're already got your rabbit sticking out of the hole, and then you just got to go just like so. Okay, so I'll do that again so you can see it. So we got our rabbit, our tree. Okay, go over top and flip it through like that. So you see how that worked? It goes over top, flip it through, and I'm also, when I put it over top, I'm holding it like so, right there. And I flip it through like that. And then I just wrap it around through the hole. Okay, so that's your bowline. And you can play around with it to adjust your loop size if you want. So one of the things to keep in mind is that it's all fine and dandy to learn to tie it just like this when you're sitting on a couch. But what you'll also want to practice once you get that part down is tying it around something. Because a lot of times you get it in your head how it all works like this, and you're like, oh, great, I know the knot. But then suddenly when you got to actually apply it, so we'll put it around this handle of this chair. You bring it around, and you're like, oh, no, it's upside down. I forgot how to tie it. So it's important to practice it this way, too. So you see what I just did? It's the same thing that I just showed you, but it's looking at it from a different angle. So I'm lashing something. You can pretend that's a stanchion that you want to tie to, and that you got to lash something down on deck. So you bring it over top, bring it through, just like you were tying an overhand knot like that. But the thing that you do is you bring it through and you pull that loop into it. And it works, where if it looks like that, you did it wrong. I mean, you still did the overhand right, but the thing that you want to do is basically pull your rabbet, pull it straight, and then it puts the loop in there. And then you tie your bowline on there. So it's good to try this, tying it onto different things at different angles so you can get the hang of it and learning how to use it in practice. You know, there's all kinds of different ways to apply it, and you want to make sure you have a pretty good understanding of that knot. So that's the bowline. I would say just practice it. Like I said, once you think you got it figured out, start tying it from different angles and see if you can tie it behind your back. That'll be the ultimate test as to how well you know how to tie this knot. So, and if you ever have any questions, just email me and I'll try to clear things up for you. Thank you very much.